Yes, yes, y'all. Welcome to Growth Planning Bootcamp. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me a few minutes after one to get started. As you guys know, there's always a lot of last minute triage to make sure everybody has links and they have access and ready to go, all that good stuff. So if you will just bear with me another few minutes here, I'm just checking in on everybody. Just want to try and get everybody the opportunity to be here that wants to be here. So I appreciate your patience. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope your week is off to a great start. And we will get this show on the road here in just a moment, I promise. I see some names from Level Up Summit. Great to see people in person at Level Up Summit. That was so much fun. Loved it. All right, let's see here. All right, cool. I think we're in pretty good shape now. Let's check. Uh-oh. One more. Hi, Catherine. All right, sorry, everybody. I've got a few more here. Not sure on that one. Cynthia, hopefully you've made it on here already. Hopefully you saw my video, but if not, I'm going to send you. Just in case you haven't made it. Okay, I think we're good. Oh, no, hold on. Oop. Okay, I think we're good now. I think we're good. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it. I think we are good to go. First of all, I'm going to start by apologizing in advance. Oh, there's Cynthia. Awesome. Welcome. I'm going to start by apologizing in advance. I have a cough that I'm about a week into now. Otherwise, I feel pretty much fine, but I have the worst cough. It's borderline whooping cough. And my daughter had it for about 30 days. And the doctor is telling me that I can expect that I will probably have it for close to 30 days too, which is just absolutely annoying. I'm on all kinds of medicines and, cough drops and drinking my fluids and all that type of stuff. So during this call, I'm going to do my very best to not, have to stop too much and cough like crazy, but it will happen. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I will do my best to put you on mute before it happens so you don't have to hear me. but that is what it is for now. So I'm sorry about that. And thank you for bearing with me. Otherwise, in fact, hold on one second. All right. Otherwise, we should be good to go. Charles and Linda, great to see you. Greg, Ryan, Crystal Top Finish. That's Zach. Awesome. Welcome. Lisa, Titus, Grant. Awesome. Montina. Love seeing Montina here. Montina, I am your secret admirer behind the scenes. I know it's not like I'm constantly commenting on any of your posts or anything like that. And I'm actually not on LinkedIn that much, but when I'm in there, I see the success you're having, and it makes me smile. So congratulations, and it's great to see you here. Hello from Dallas. Awesome, incredible crush volleyball. That's cool. Yes, awesome. Great, everybody. Good to see you here. Let's get this show on the road. There may be some of you who I just sent the link to join us on this call that, you still have some things to figure out. You're not in the membership area. You're not in Circle yet. There's some logistics or technical error there that's happening. Don't worry. We will get you sorted out after the call. And for now, you're on the call. So just be here with us. Be present with us. There's nothing else that you need other than to be here on this call. So Sean, thank you. Good to see you, sir. All right. So this is day one of Growth Planning Bootcamp. First of all, thank you for being here. And I would like to congratulate or commend you for being here, because I know this isn't the sexy stuff. This isn't the, turn on this ad and you're going to make $1 million more money, all that good stuff. This is the blocking and tackling of actually building a business, which is you've got to have a plan for success. Okay. And many of you who have been in my community for years know that I think that this is one of the most important things that I do all year, is that I take time each year to create my plan for the next year. And I do it in a more thoughtful and systematic way than just about anybody that you're going to meet that is not, running some big company. Okay. I started this process long ago when I was building my first business, and it was starting to grow fast enough. And I had a team, and I realized, okay, I've got to, have more of a thoughtful process for how we're going to grow each year, and what I need these various people on my team to understand about our plan, and to participate in creating that plan, and to make sure that they know what they contribute to making that plan actually happen in the next year. And it was so funny, because anybody who talks about, making a plan, I think, other than maybe the most, I don't know, OCD planner types, most entrepreneurs kind of go, oh gosh, this sounds like administrative overhead, right? Why do I have to do this? And I certainly understand that. But what I did over the years was I studied all kinds of different approaches to planning, and found all kinds of entrepreneurial resources that I thought were actually really good and exciting and created results. Things like The Great Game of Business, and things like Vern Harnish's Gazelles programs, and a number of other programs like this, where they were very entrepreneurial, they were lean, they were mean, and they got results. And I took the best parts and pieces that I could from each of those and used them. And lo and behold, our planning process became a thing that my team and I loved, that we actually looked forward to every year, because it got us excited. It gave us clarity. It gave us confidence. It created a camaraderie amongst our team. So we actually got to the point where we were, so excited to do our planning process. And what we ended up doing, and this is what I still do personally today, is I would rent this cabin up in the mountains in Colorado, and I would take my leadership team, and we'd go up there. We did it the first year. We just did it for like one day. And honestly, it's because we were growing so fast and scrambling, and and still so cash starved that I was like, I think one day is all we can afford to take away from the office. And then that turned into 3 days over time, because we found that with 3 days, we could really build something that was really, impactful in terms of a plan and getting that clarity. And that's still what I do today. It doesn't personally take me 3 full days at this point, but I'll take a day and a half, on this, and I will still go get a mountain cabin and use it as a little, vacation opportunity, if you will, a little working vacation. But I go up there and get fresh air and create my plan, and it invigorates me, gets me fired up. Like I said, it creates confidence going into the next year. And all of you, should have honestly, I 100% believe that all of you should have, if not this exact process in place, a very similar version of it, if you hope to achieve your biggest goals. I don't know how you're going to do it otherwise, without just taking that pause to reflect and to get clear. I just don't know how you do it. Maybe some people, some personalities can do it that way, where you just never stop. You just go, and it's just this endless go. But I don't, I've yet to see it, I think. So, was that on a ski lift? Yeah. Ski lift was actually, an important part of the story. On a ski lift was where I got my first sale, my first online sale, where it was the first time where there was no traditional sales process involved. I was on a ski lift at Vail with my friends, having the best day in the world. And all of a sudden I got a receipt come in my email for like $287 or something like that. And that was like, bing. I was like, wait a minute, I'm on a ski lift having the best time, and I just made money, and I didn't have to talk to anybody, right? That was a big moment in my life. All right. So all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. Starting with just an overview of what we're going to do during this boot camp. And I should say, before we go through this, yes, you are going to have access to all the recordings. They will be immediately available after these calls are done. So as soon as we end this call, the replay is already there because it's YouTube streaming, and it will be available inside of the membership area that you have access to at courses.servicesthatscale.com. Okay. We also have the private circle group for this bootcamp that will be up and running for 30 days. So that during that 30 days, you have any questions specific to this process, you can ask them there, and I'll see them and make sure and address them. Okay. So growth planning bootcamp then agenda. Get back here to my slides so I can move them. There we go. The goal, first of all, as I've already said, learn a process and create a plan that gives you confidence that you can grow your business. Okay. And both of these things are important. I want you to come out of this with a plan, but most importantly to me is I want you to learn a process, right? Kind of the teach a man to fish thing. This is something, like I said, that you should take and use for the rest of your career, the rest of your life. The confidence that you can grow your business, this approach that we're going to take here literally gets down to what are the specific activities I need to do and how much of them do I need to do to create growth. And then if it turns out that I'm wrong in creating my plan, because guess what? Your plan is going to be wrong. Okay. That is the one thing that we can count on. You're going to create a plan. It's going to be wrong. Okay. That's what planning is. So we have to have a process for how we learn what went wrong and how do we adapt and overcome. Right. And so that process to me is just, this whole process to me is just magical. And so I want you to have that process so that you know that you can take this and run with it going forward. So I've broken this up into 3 sessions this year. And first one today here, we're going to document what I call our growth formula. We're going to make sure that we understand what the key metrics are that we should measure related to our growth so that we can know if we're on track or off track, and then create a stretch growth plan. A stretch growth plan is a plan that is a stretch for you to achieve. Okay, it feels big, it feels audacious, right? But at the same time, it feels like it's realistic. I can actually create a plan to get there. I'm not relying on hope. I'm not relying on, some unknown variable that could strike our business halfway through the year and all of a sudden we grow 10 times faster. Those things are awesome. They're just very hard to plan for. Hopefully some of those things come your way. But for now, we're going to create something that we feel confident that we can execute on. Okay. Day 2, we're then going to create the sales and marketing activity plan that will drive that growth. And it's an activity plan. Okay. It is, here are the activities that we're going to do and how much we're going to do of them. And then a daily scorecard to track our activities. And then 3, we're going to install what I call my growth operating system. My growth operating system is that system that allows you to learn from your previous planning mistakes and execution mistakes and your assumptions that were off, and how you use that as a feedback loop back into the system to course correct as you're going, right? So this is, reminds me of that thing you've probably heard, many times, where they talk about how a pilot, flies from one point of the country to the other point of the country, that it's never in a straight line. It's always adjusting. It's always a little off track and adjusting and course correcting to ultimately get to its destination. That's the way we build a business too, right? It's never a straight line. So those are our 3 sessions here. And then again, you'll have the 30 days in the circle community to be able to ask questions and have a little conversation there. Okay. Some best practices that I have found that are really important when it comes to planning. Because again, planning can seem like overhead unless you apply some of these best practices. Number 1 is to start early. I think this is one of the most important adjustments that I've made in my whole process. I used to do this with my team when we first started doing this. It was like right before Christmas or right before the new year, we would go and do this planning process. And that stinks because, 1, you're thinking about Christmas and New Year's and, all this stuff that you want to be doing with your friends and family. And 2, you get done with your planning process and then you really don't have any time to do anything about it, right? During those holidays. So if there's any follow-up work or anything like that that you want to do or get started, you really don't have any chance to do that without messing up your holidays, which we don't want to do, right? So what I have found, and it's become a very important adjustment to me, is I like to get this done before Thanksgiving now every year. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm still working on it a little bit after Thanksgiving, putting some finishing details on things. But by getting it done before the holidays, you now have that mental peace of mind that comes with feeling like you're ahead of the next year, right? And feeling like you've got something that you're confident in. Versus when you, again, wait until the holidays, now it's just another thing that's in the holidays. And mentally, you're like, no, I'm supposed to hit the ground running January 2nd and, get out there and crush it. But I say January 2nd just because I know January 1st, a lot of people are not using that as the day to crush it. They're using it as a day to recover or rest. But if you really are not completely set and confident in your plan, by the time that point comes around, now you're like, okay, I got to finish up that plan that I started during the holidays. Now it's 2 weeks into January before you're really getting clarity and, putting the things in place to execute. And then you feel like you're already behind on the year, which is a terrible feeling. Okay. So we want to start and finish this early. Get specific and clear. Okay. You will see that in this program, we get into details. Okay. We've got to move beyond just this general, I want to grow faster. Okay. It's even not enough to say, I want to hit 500,000 or 1 million. Okay, that's great, but how do you get there? We're going to push ourselves to really understand how you get there so that we actually have a plan. Okay. And then finally, have fun. Okay. I think that when it comes to creating a really good plan for your next year, um, Gary Vee talks about the clouds and the dirt, right? And that entrepreneurs need to live in both places simultaneously. The best entrepreneurs live in the clouds and the dirt at the same time. And I love that. I think it's so true, right? You got to have your head in the clouds thinking about big, dreamy, exciting things, but you've also got to have your hands in the dirt every day. Be willing to get your hands dirty, doing the work, doing the things that need to be done, right? It requires both as an entrepreneur, especially as an early stage entrepreneur where we're grinding to get it done, right? You've got to do both. And I think if you find yourself during this process of going, hey, this is too much of the dirt for me, like as in like trying to work with spreadsheets and numbers. I know some people on here, like that's maybe not your thing. Then what I would do is I would encourage you to remind yourself to take a little bit of time to go, hey, wait a minute, what am I doing this all for? What is it that gets me excited as shit that I am willing to go through the grind of putting together a plan and doing this process and thinking about these details? Because I know that that's going to get me that big income I want, or that vacation that I want to be able to go on and spend like crazy and not even think about it, or paying for my kids' college with no stress, or whatever it is for you, getting that new boat, that new vacation home, that new piece of land, right? Whatever it is that gets you that fired up, then you got to spend some time with that too. Okay. Kind of balance that out to make sure that you're enjoying the process. Okay. So that is the agenda here for the few days and just kind of some best practices. And I will pause here momentarily just to look over the comments and see if we have anything on the comments that I need to address. Any questions on any of that? Brittany, what's up? Good to see you. Brittany says, I barely remember what day it is right now, folks. Well, I hope that's a good thing because you're busy doing good stuff. But if you guys have any questions, let me know on any of that. Otherwise, we'll just keep on cruising. Looks good. I don't see anything right now, so we're just going to keep on cruising. Okay. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about the growth formula. Okay. So the growth formula is where we break down what it is that we actually have to do to create growth at our business. Okay. This is incredibly important because it gets you out of that. It gets you out of that just like dreamy, I want to hit $1 million. That's awesome. But what are you going to do at the detailed level that creates $1 million in sales at your business? How many customers is that? How much are you earning from each customer on average? If you close 30% of every sales pitch that you make, well, then how many sales pitches do you need to make to get that number of customers to actually hit that target, right? These are the details that we have to get figured out to actually create a plan. And that's what this growth formula is. And I first learned about this. I can't remember. Well, actually, I can't remember exactly who I learned about it from first, but the first example that I saw of it was they were showing the growth formula for Amazon. And it like just really hit me, just like this clarity of, wow, how simple it is to clarify what creates growth at a business when you break it down into a formula like this. It's not real complicated, right? And I think in entrepreneurship, sometimes we can get kind of sold or convince ourselves that there's some mysterious forces that make some people successful as entrepreneurs and other people not as successful, right? And the reality is that there's a growth formula, right? There's a growth formula to how their business grew. They found a way to activate that growth formula that somebody else didn't. And that's execution, right? So, but first, you've got to understand what that growth formula is. And when you break it down like we're going to break it down, like I said, it just really clarifies and simplifies. Okay, this is what we have to do to grow a business. So, Amazon, I think, is a great example here. If we take a look at them, this is how Amazon grows. Okay, and now this is Amazon's core online e-commerce sales business. So I'm not talking about their cloud business or anything like that, right? Obviously, Amazon at this point is a very complex business. But you could create a growth formula like this for any portion of their business. But this is their retail business. It's something that we all understand, right? So how does Amazon grow? Amazon grows by having more product category verticals. So in other words, home goods, kitchen, furniture, and then having clothing, and then having toys, and then having electronics, and then having books, and then having whatever, right? Those are all vertical categories of products. The more vertical categories of products Amazon has, the more they grow. Okay, and the reason why, it's pretty straightforward, but what separated Amazon from other businesses that were getting started in e-commerce, like for those of you who are old enough to remember, right? There was a store for every vertical niche at one period of time, right? There was pets.com. There was, whatever. I mean, you could just go literally, like people were creating stores for like soccerballs.com, it was like unbelievable the number of stores that were out there. And most of them were just taking this very specific focus. And what Amazon said was, actually, we think what the majority of the world wants is to be able to just come to one site and get everything that they need. Yes, there will be certain things that they need to go to a niche site to get the absolute niche version of some product or whatever. But for the most part, most of their shopping, it would be ideal if they could just come to one site and just find everything that they need, put it in the shopping cart and check out. So that was what Jeff Bezos understood and executed on really, really, really well very early on, was that the more of these verticals we have, the more customers keep coming back to us, the more we capture more of their dollars. Okay. And then next, what goes along with that is, well, yeah, we have to have the vertical. We have to say we're in the category of sports equipment, but we also need to have all of the sports equipment that we can have then, right? We want you to be able to come here and find whether you're looking for soccer balls, soccer cleats, basketball, softball stuff, golf stuff, whatever it is, that you're actually going to be able to come here, find it here, and buy it here. Okay. So we've got to have more verticals. We've got to have more product inventory per vertical. Then we've got to get traffic on those product pages. Okay. Pretty obvious. We got to get people to come and see what's available. And then we have to have a conversion process that we're optimizing to get people to actually buy, make it as easy as possible to buy, and then make it as easy as possible to try and get as many dollars out of each transaction as we can. So, upsells or whatever it is, product recommendations. And then, of course, if we're doing all of this really well, and we sell them a Prime membership and, and all that, then people come back and buy from us the next time instead of going to whatever other e-commerce store they could possibly be going to. Okay. That is Amazon's retail growth formula. Pretty darn straightforward, right? And you can imagine a Jeff Bezos going, okay, I'm going to put somebody in charge of each of these things. Somebody who's going, in charge of their entire job is going out and finding which vertical we should be in next, and starting to create all the vendor relationships and all that stuff. And then somebody who's just in charge of expanding each inventory per vertical, right? You can just see, okay, I'm going to put a general manager in charge of each of these things. Somebody that all they do is they optimize the conversion rate when somebody's adding stuff to their cart and checking out. And if you optimized in each of these areas, the business is going to grow at an astronomical rate, so long as there is general market demand for this, which of course there was. And of course, Amazon grew at an astronomical rate and continues to, right? So that's Amazon. Any questions on that? Is that clear? I use them as an example because they're a company that we're all just so familiar with. And hopefully it makes real sense as to, okay, yeah, I see that's how Amazon would grow their business, right? I'm gonna be back 1 second here. I'll be right back. All right. I just had the sun was sneaking in there and cooking me, so we're all good now. So if there's any questions on that, Montina says it's clear. Awesome. Cool. I'm going to keep on moving forward. Any questions on any of this, of course, just let me know. But let's look at the agency business, since that is what the far majority of people here in the community will be focused on. How do we then grow an agency? What's our growth formula for an agency? Here is a simplified, but I think effective version that I would propose to you. Is there's got to be some awareness of you in the marketplace, right? Agency services tend to have a longer sales cycle. In other words, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long active sales cycle, as in from the time that you're actually in conversation with somebody from the time that they buy. That doesn't have to be long. But typically, a business is going to evaluate and think about, is this something that they want to invest in? How long until I'm ready to invest in it based on other projects and things I have going on, all that type of stuff, time of year. And so somebody can be aware of you for a year before they actually engage with you from a sales perspective. And that's why it's incredibly important that we are building our brand awareness out there so that those top of funnel numbers are as big and broad as they can be, because the more big and broad those numbers are, the more daily opportunities will come out of it. Okay. So we want to grow that brand awareness. And in fact, this is what I stressed in my Attention Engine Bootcamp a couple months ago now, is that most agencies are not investing nearly enough in just getting known in their marketplace. They're so focused on, how do I just get in front of somebody and make a sale, right? But it's kind of the cart before the horse. So building that brand awareness through content marketing is, the most common way, right? From that brand awareness, we're going to get leads. We're going to get people that opt into our newsletter, opt into our calendar, book a call with us, things like that. Percentage of those we're going to give sales presentations to, and a percentage of those are going to convert into opportunities, okay? Or convert the sales opportunities, a percentage of those we're going to sell. And then there's average revenue per customer, ARPU, average revenue per user, but average revenue per customer that we're going to get. And then the customer retention rate. These are the factors that determine growth, right? How many leads, how many sales presentations are you making? How many of those are you converting? What's the average revenue per customer? And then how long are they staying? Those are the factors that determine growth at an agency. Okay. Brittany says, sun must be nice. It is nice, Brittany. It's prettier. So for those of you who are familiar with my R4 2.0 sales and marketing process, this is what it looks like. There's some version of it that everybody is using that is close to this. Whether or not you're following my exact sales process or not, you have something out there that's designed to fill your funnel. Content marketing, lead generation ads, things like that. You capture that lead, you deliver whatever lead magnet that you promised, and you have ideally what I call a first position relationship builder video. So a video where you're communicating to them, hey, this is what we're all about. This is what we have to offer. Then a qualifier survey before they get booked on your calendar. Depending on where you are in your business, I actually recommend that qualifier survey go after scheduling. So that way you're not putting up a roadblock to schedule somebody. But if you get to the point where you're getting busy enough, your calendar is getting squeezed enough, too many of those leads that are making it onto your calendar are not fully qualified, then I recommend that you do the qualifier survey first so you can weed out some people who aren't really qualified before they get on your calendar. If you're just getting started, though, I think just about every conversation is a useful one, even if the prospect is not really qualified. So I recommend you just get them on your calendar and practice your conversations. And then there's the R4 framework strategy call, your sales call. And then you've got the new customer follow through. Okay. So some sort of process like that. So if we then take that process and we combine it with the growth formula that I originally showed you for an agency, we can start to get more detailed than in what exactly it is that is happening throughout this growth formula. Okay, so brand awareness, we can translate that into impressions, right? How many impressions are we getting? And then impressions of, whether it's YouTube video, blog post, whatever it is, then there is some sort of action that a percentage of people are taking to click through, right? And then land on our site or land on our opt-in page or our lead capture form through our ads or whatever it is. A percentage of those people then opt in. Okay. And then again, let's say you have a sales presentation, whether that's live or a video or a webinar or a combination of all those. What percentage of people actually watch that presentation? So out of all of these leads, what percentage of people do we actually get to the point of actually viewing our sales presentation in whatever format it is? And then assuming you have a sales call in this process, then at some point that you have a percentage of people that then book on your calendar to do a call. And then a sales conversion rate, what percentage of people actually become customers, and then average revenue and customer retention. Okay, so we've just broken this down a little bit more formulaically, a little bit more into measurable metrics, right? Which is what we'll talk about here next, so that we can have as detailed and clear of a formula as we can have to actually get people through this growth formula. Excuse me. So this is a more detailed version then of that growth formula. Mike says, what percentage of the brand name and person behind the brand would you recommend? Are you talking about, Mike, are you talking about the kind of a breakdown between the business brand and a personal brand? So how much would you base your business on your personal brand? Is that what you mean? I think that's the way I'm interpreting that question. And the answer to me is, I think that the ideal and I've never thought about it from a percentage basis, Mike, and I don't know, I don't know that I would be able to give you any number that's actually based in any sort of reality on that. What I would say, though, is that I think that the best situation is that where you are building both your business brand and your personal brand. And so people are getting to know the business, but they're getting to know the person as well. And the reason why I say that I think that that's the best combination versus doing just a business brand or doing just a personal brand, I think that if you do just a business brand, you're just missing out on a reality of the world that people like to connect to people. And if you look at Elon Musk, he has far more social media followers than Tesla, SpaceX, any of that, right? If you look at The Rock, he has far more followers than his, movies and, those brands that he's associated with. This goes generally across the board. And the reason why that is because we're human beings. We want to connect with other human beings. We're drawn to other human beings. So if you have somebody in your business, you or somebody else who is comfortable, capable, and, has got some charisma to be out there creating content and connecting with people and showing their face and all that good stuff, it is to the business's advantage to incorporate that into your marketing and into your brand. Okay. Now, why not then do just a personal brand only? Because that makes it harder to then exit the business if you don't also build some foundation to the business itself. So you don't want it to just be just the Mike show. You want it to be that Mike runs their San Diego, Mike runs services that scale, Mike runs, XYZ. Um, so yes, so basically he's the guy that owns XYZ. That's correct, Mike. But I would also say it doesn't have to be just the person that owns. So if you can get your team involved in creating content and your team is, a part of the business and they're putting content out there with their names and their faces and stuff like that, but it's still helping to direct back to the business, I think that that's super valuable as well. So it doesn't have to be just the owner. Okay. Obviously, for any content for your business that you're expecting to be kind of really evergreen content, really important content for your business, then you want that to be in somebody that from somebody that you're pretty sure is going to stick around with the business for a long time. So an owner, partner, that type of thing. But no problem at all with, maybe you've got somebody on your team who's your Facebook ads expert and they're, shooting quick little update videos on here's the latest things that we've learned from Facebook ads and, send those out to your customers or posting them up on social media. And, hey, this is Mike from such and such company, and I'm the Facebook ads manager over here on the team. And, Facebook just made this change and we just want to do a quick update to let you know. That's great content that benefits your business as well. And if the Facebook ads manager ends up quitting and you hire a new one, it's not the end of the world. Okay. So, this is then a more complete, more detailed version of that growth formula. And let me know if you have any questions on that growth formula. And otherwise, we will move on here to the key metrics. Okay. And the key metrics really are what we just talked about in that last presentation towards the end. By breaking down that growth formula into more detail, we really, identify those key metrics in the process of doing that. Okay. So goal, clarify how you're going to measure progress, right? We need to know, are we on track or off track for growth, for what we're trying to achieve? We don't want to just be flying blind throughout the year and then hope that at the end of the year, yep, we made it. We want to be able to measure along the way so that we can quickly see where we're off track and make adjustments. Okay. So that initial formula, again, brand awareness, leads, sales presentations, converted sales opportunities, ARPU, and customer retention rate. And then the key metrics that we created. So brand awareness would be impressions and click-through rate, right? So how many people are seeing our content? And then are they engaging? Are they finding it intriguing enough that they're actually clicking through and engaging with our content? You could also measure all kinds of things then there, right? Like what's the average time on site? What's the bounce rate? All that type of stuff. If you're getting into like real optimization of that step, those are other metrics that you could throw in here. I'm not worried about those at this level of creating a growth plan. Okay. Leads then, opt-in percentage and number of leads. Sales presentations, depending on what all assets you have in there, it could be the video view percentage, call scheduling percentage, call show up percentage, opportunity percentage. So out of those people that you have a call with, how many of them actually become an opportunity versus aren't really qualified? Converted sales opportunities. So the sales close and then the number of customers are key metrics that we're going to want to know. The ARPU. So what is the upfront cash that we get? That's what UFC stands for. What is the upfront cash that we get from the customer? And then what is the monthly recurring revenue that we get from the customer? And then the retention rate, right? So what is our churn percentage and our average months of customer life, which then that feeds back into that ARPU number to tell us, okay, Our average customer stays for 18 months at $497 a month with a $3,000 initial project. Here's what we can count on as an average lifetime value of our customer. Okay. So those are the key metrics that I am going to be working with as we go through this growth planning process. You can certainly decide that there's something else that you want to measure, something else that you want to add to this, whatever. Absolutely. You can go crazy with it. These are generally, to me, the numbers that, again, tell us, are we on track or off track when it comes to the major components of that growth formula? Then if you say, hey, we're off track in this area, then you can dig down into the additional metrics that support that particular area. So just like we were talking about, well, what's our time on site? What's our bounce rate? People aren't really finding our content useful, right? We're getting them with the headline. We're putting something out there that's attractive enough that they're clicking through. But once they get to our content, or could be the other way around. Turns out your content is very engaging. People are really sitting on your site and reading it and watching the videos and absorbing everything, but your click-through rate is terrible because you're writing off all headlines. So once you have identified, here's our bottleneck, and this is what the, hold on. This is what the growth operating system is about later on in this program that we'll talk about. The growth operating system is, again, that process of identifying where's the bottleneck, how do we dig into the numbers, how do we do some tests, learn from it, and improve, okay? When it comes to this idea of a personal brand, if you want to have multiple agencies in different niches, since this opportunity of systems is so strong right now, what do? You don't, realistically. The answer is, I can almost assure you that you do not have the firepower to do that effectively. And you should just build an agency. And if you want to have different niches in that agency, great. But you don't need multiple agencies. There's no real justification for that. All you're doing is splitting your resources. Sean says, sorry, Mike, the LTV, is that actual profit per customer or gross per customer? That would be, I would suggest that you calculate that ideally off of gross margins. Okay. So gross margins. So not profit, gross margins. So the revenue that you get per customer minus the direct cost of servicing that revenue, of providing your service. So when we say, our high level service has 75% gross margins, that means for every $100 that we're getting from revenue, 75 of those dollars are available to pay for the rest of the business. 25 of those dollars are going towards actually delivering the service. 75 of those dollars can go towards sales, marketing, overhead, salaries, your profit, all that good stuff. That's what that 75% gross margins is communicating. So ideally, you would base it off of those gross margins, because the reality is revenue is kind of a vanity number, right? If I sell $100 and you sell $100 and your gross margins are 90% and my gross margins are 10%, we didn't sell the same $100, right? We don't have the same business. We don't have the same opportunities. So that's the better number. Alex says, what is an acceptable close rate percentage per 100 leads? Okay. We will go through these metrics, Alex, here, and we'll go through these metrics and walk through it. Okay. When you say per 100 leads, I hesitate to answer that question all the way down at the close rate level, because how are you getting those leads? What is the quality of those leads? What was the promise made to get them to be a lead? Was it to sign up for my newsletter? Or was it to get a new website for free and all they have to do is book a call with you, right? So we'll go through the numbers. Michael says, just got here, had a meeting, couldn't change, no problem. Awesome, Michael, it's all recorded, don't sweat. Awesome, Sean, cool. Okay, any other questions on these come up, just let me know. But we are now going to talk about creating our stretch growth plan. So this is where we start to get into some of the more fun stuff, which is to say, okay, now that we have an understanding of what our formula is and what our metrics are, how the heck do we actually grow this business? And so what I'd like to do, just to keep this simple, and we're going to get into a more sophisticated version of this, but I'm going to let's warm up our math muscles. Right? We've been talking about some concepts and stuff, but let's warm up our math muscles a little bit. Okay? So we're going to switch gears here and start getting into how do we start translating what we were just talking to, conceptual stuff there, into the start of an actual growth plan. We're going to start with our stretch growth plan. Okay? And then we're going to kind of work backwards a little bit to fill it in. Is how we're going to do this process. But a stretch growth plan is very individual. It's very individual to where you're at right now, what kind of resources you have, how much you're going to work, what kind of experience you have in sales or not, what kind of confidence you have in being able to execute. All of those things impact your stretch growth plan. So it's a very personal thing. And so I can't tell you a right or wrong. I can just tell you that what you should do if you're trying to get the most out of this next year is you should create a plan. And when I say create a stretch plan, let's just simplify that down to create a sales target that you're trying to hit to start. Okay? That's all we're going to talk about right now. What is a sales target that you want to hit that would be exciting to you, would motivate you to get your butt up every single day and charge hard at your goals and at the activities that are required to hit your goals, and that feels like, man, in order for me to hit that target, I'm going to have to really make some serious shit happen this year. All right? Maybe I need to change a little bit about who I am and how I operate today. I'm going to have to push myself. I'm going to have to become the Marines or the Navy SEALs version of myself as an entrepreneur to do this. But I can do it. I know I can do it. Like I can see that it's a realistic target that I feel like, gosh darn it, I know I can do that. That's your right stretch target. Okay? That's your right stretch target. It should have kind of all of those factors to it. And a lot of that is emotional, right? Some of it is the math, but some of it's emotional. We're human beings. And entrepreneurship is a very emotional game. I mean, and perhaps that can be said of anything, honestly, in life that's of any consequence, right? But I think entrepreneurship, you're taking a lot of risk and you're trying to make your dreams come true in many ways. And so, again, we've got to have that clouds and dirt. We've got to have our head in the clouds enough that it really gets us moving. Because the likelihood that you're going to wake up tomorrow and do the things that need to get done is significantly lower if you are not emotionally fired up and connected to what it is that you're trying to achieve. So you've got to set that thing for you. Charles and Linda, they just, they bought the new property and they want to create legacy for their kids and their grandkids. And, they want to leave something when they're all done that is like, that was our family name, that we contributed to that and gave, the rest of our family like this head start in life. That's inspiring, right? And that will get you up out of bed every day. Okay? You got to figure out what it is for you. You've got to figure out what it is for you, but it should make some butterflies happen in your stomach. If it doesn't, it's probably not exciting enough. And you're probably not going to jump out of bed every day and do the work. Okay, so I hope you are familiar with this calculator. If you're not, let me just share it with you real quick. And of course, I'll put this in the membership area and all that good stuff. But this is in most of my programs at this point that you would be going through. So perhaps you've seen it already, but let me go ahead and share it with you. This is a very simple version of what we're going to be working on in this planning process. That, again, what I'd like to do is just get the math brain going a little bit here. Okay, so you can see here we've got some of these key metrics that we've been talking about. Click-through rate, right? So somebody's clicking through on an ad or a piece of content. What does it cost me to get that click? What is the landing page conversion rate then when they hit the lead magnet? Then that is my cost per lead. What of those leads then become prospects? Then what of those prospects become opportunities? Then what percentage of those opportunities do I convert to customers? And then that means it cost me $1,428 to acquire that customer. And that's excluding any sales commission. This is usually a big eye-opener for people, because so many people that have a just hustle mindset think that getting a sale, getting a customer doesn't cost them anything, right? No, it didn't cost me anything. I just went, to a bunch of networking events and met people and cold call people and stuff like that. And then I got a customer. I didn't spend any money on ads, Mike. My business is crushing it, right? Well, yeah, you didn't spend any money on ads, but unless you consider your time worthless, it costs you money to get that customer, right? If you got one customer this month and you think you're worth $10,000 a month, it costs you $10,000 to get a customer, right? If you're an entrepreneur building your business and that's what you did for the month, and that's what you think that you're worth, and you didn't get any other income this month other than that, then it costs you $10,000 to get that customer. If you got 4 customers, it costs you $2,500 per customer, right? If you got 12 or 10 customers, it costs you, what did I say, $10,000, $1,000 to get a customer, right? So it costs you money to grow. Regardless of that, money is coming out of your, blood, sweat, and tears for a period of time, or coming out of your wallet, or a combination of the two. But who was it that asked earlier? Alex C. What is an acceptable close rate per 100 leads? So you can see right over here on the right-hand side, this is, again, a very simple version. But if we said that we wanted to get 3 customers for the month, then that would mean, and your question was specifically leads. Yeah. So 171 leads to get 3 customers based on these percentages. So leads, 20% of those leads become a prospect. 35% become an opportunity, and 25% close. And those are all pretty solid, realistic numbers there. That 20, 35, 25. Those are pretty darn solid numbers. Okay. So one of the very, very important things, though, Alex, and one of the reasons why I would hesitate to answer your question without having more information, is what is your definition of a lead? Because I can tell you that a lot of people in this industry walking around saying, hey, we'll sell you 1 million leads that you can just cold email. Well, those aren't leads to me. Those are suspects. Those are people that you just bought their names, bought their email addresses because they look like they could be people who could potentially be interested in your services one day. That's a suspect to me. And so you're about to blast them with a cold email. That's not a lead, right? A lead is somebody who has actually made contact with you, right? Ideally inbound, not necessarily though, but ideally inbound, and has said, yeah, I'm interested in what you're talking about there. That is a totally different person than the lead, of I just bought somebody's email address, right? So definitions are incredibly important, and using consistent language in your sales process is incredibly important. Okay. Yeah, cool. And Alex says, sorry, I meant book leads for a call. Yeah, no sweat, Alex. I'm not picking, I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you. I'm just making sure I'm illustrating why, this stuff matters, right? And so you're probably referring to prospects in my definitions. Prospect, you can see right here, and this is why I put the definitions, because I think they're so critical. Prospect equals a booked call. So 34 of those. Out of those 34, 35% become an opportunity, which is 12. 25% of those close, which is 3. So if you said 100 book calls, you could triple that number to around 9. Okay. I think that would be a realistic target. Okay. When someone raises their hand, says to me, that's a lead. Yeah, I think so too. Okay. So these are some numbers that we can work with. Now, on the bottom here, you'll see these 2 different tabs. So we click over to the other tab, then that gives us the ability to start mapping out our stretch goal. Okay, our stretch target and what we think about that stretch target. So here you can see here, I've given some numbers to work with. All right. So if you said that your average customer's value was $497, you had 2% monthly churn, 25% trial to paid, and I did a trial here. You don't have to do a trial, and we can just change these numbers to leads, prospects, just like we did before. 25%, 15%, that type of thing. But you can see here that if I got 2 new customers a month for the first 3 months, 3 new customers a month for the next, 8 months, and then 4 new customers a month. So we're not talking about crazy numbers here, 2, 3, 4 customers a month. You can see here at the end of month 12, we're at $15,245 in total revenue, $13,255 or $257 in recurring revenue. Okay. So that's, well into the 6 figures of recurring revenue each year, just based off of selling 2, 3, 4 customers a month in that first year, probably an average of 3 customers a month at $497 a month, really not including any upfront cash. So that UFC metric, right? If you were to get upfront cash of $2,500 per customer, now you're adding another $10,000 a month in total revenue on here. So now you're a $250,000 business, $350,000 a year business in 1 year, which that's, if you're comfortable with sales and marketing, if you have, if you're comfortable with going out there and doing your marketing activities and your prospecting activities, that is a very realistic first year target, 3 customers a month. Okay. Some of you can blow right past those numbers. Others, you've never done any sales, you've never done any marketing, and you may go, yeah, those numbers look easy to me, but if you've never done any sales or any marketing, you may be coming back to me, crawling back with your tail between your legs in 45 days going, Mike, I haven't done anything because all this sales marketing stuff is super intimidating to me, and I can't make cold calls and I can't, whatever. Right. So, and that happens all the time. That's the reason why I say that. Okay. So, uh, again, you should create a goal based on where you're at today, what it is you're trying to accomplish, what your experience is, and what gives you the butterflies in the stomach. Okay. To create that stretch goal. So if you are just getting started from scratch, right, and you have no sales experience whatsoever, you might want to say, I'm going to drop that 2 to 1, and I'm going to drop the first 3 threes to 2, and then I'm going to stick with 3 for the rest of the year. And if I find out that I'm doing better than that, awesome. But, that's a very conservative approach. So what if we just do that? Let's do 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. And we are now at, let's do 3, 3. So that could be a much more beginner's approach, right? If you will. Starting from scratch as a beginner, just getting 1 customer a month for the first few months, right? Now, again, this isn't including any upfront cash. So maybe you are comfortable selling a $1,500, $2,500, startup fee, that type of thing. And so you can get some more total revenue out of this. So that would give you 3,000 in your first month. That would give you 5,000, 6,000 in your second month. That would give you, I'm sorry. No, excuse me. That would give you 3,000 roughly each month of your first 3 months, 3 to 4,000. And then as you get into month 4, where you're now signing up 2 customers a month, now you have 2 times that upfront cash. So now you'd be more at like, 7,000 in a month by month 4. That's if you're working on your own and you're trying to replace your income and stuff like that. Now you can start to see, okay, I just made, $7,500 this month. I'm starting to pay my bills, that type of thing. Okay. Again, depending on where you are in your experience, that may seem like, no, that's not nearly enough, Mike. I'm going to go out and get after it. I'm going to do much better than this. Or you may think, that's probably, a good realistic starting point for me. And if I find that I can do something different or better, great. But look at this. By the end of year one, even with this super conservative approach that I'm outlining here, and it is super conservative, you're at $10,291 in recurring revenue each month. You are now making 6 figures a year in recurring income after a year. That's pretty damn good, right? That starts to change your life because recurring revenue is awesome. Recurring revenue based on software is really awesome because it sticks. Okay. So even if you take a very conservative approach, you can start to see some numbers here that get really exciting. And you can see just by in the next year, if I get some confidence, I'm learning what I'm doing. Now I'm moving up to 4 customers a month and then 5 customers a month and even 6 in that last month. And now we're talking 30,000 a month in recurring revenue by the end of that second year. That's pretty hot, right? We just tripled our recurring revenue in 1 year. That's a nice situation. So some of you are already starting with a base of 500,000 in revenue. And you're saying, hey, Mike, it's time for me to take that next leap. Awesome. Well, then you need to put a stretch goal in place for you that reflects that leap and gets the butterflies in the stomach going. Okay. And then what we will do is we will move on to the more sophisticated planning spreadsheet that I have for you. And that is this is the spreadsheet that's going to answer the questions that I've seen coming in already. Things like, well, how does this relate to cold outreach? Okay. So, different approaches to generate leads and stuff are going to be different results, right? Different metrics. So this spreadsheet gets into the details. Okay. Montina says this model has been effective for us. We have some clients who have been with us since 2015. That's awesome, Montina. Mike, I'm here to discuss our current offering, which involves a single service. We have decided to stop accepting new agency clients. Is this training specifically designed for agency owners? Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. And Montina, we will open this up to questions here in just a couple of minutes. And then any questions that anybody wants to ask, you guys are welcome to. Yes, Montina started working with us in 2015. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Montina. I love it. I love seeing you getting after it. It is so awesome. So let me just give you an overview of this spreadsheet. And then this spreadsheet is really what we'll get into in detail tomorrow. Okay. So what this allows us to do, you can see in much more depth. And that's why I said, let's get our math brains just kind of warmed up with that initial spreadsheet. With this spreadsheet, we can start getting into real detail about, okay, let's say that we have 3 different products. Okay. We don't just have the 497. We have the 497, a 297, and a 697. And they have different margins. And they have different upfront revenue that we're going to get from them. Maybe this one's only, it says 2,500, maybe it's 2,500, but maybe this one's only 500. Okay. And so they have different upfront cash that we get depending on the service that we're selling. And now we can say, how much are we going to sell of each package? So we have the 297, 497, 697, but maybe we sell twice as many of the 297s as we do the 497s or 697s. Some of you, again, you're starting from scratch here. I don't want you to overthink this, okay? This is an initial plan. As I told you, your plan is wrong. We already know that. Your plan is wrong. And so what you're going to do is just, honestly, if you're brand new, you just follow my lead on this. Take my advice. I'll tell you what numbers you can put in here and then run with it. And then when you find that your numbers are different, you'll adjust throughout the year. Okay, that's what the day 3 of this is about, is the growth operating system to teach you how to adjust. Okay, so if you are somebody who has been doing this for a while though, and you've got your products and you kind of know, oh, yeah, we sell such and such service really well and this one doesn't sell that well and yada yada, then you can adjust these numbers in this spreadsheet based on what your reality is so that you can have a more realistic model for you. Okay. But what this spreadsheet does is allows us then to create essentially a growth plan product by product to get to our numbers down here. Here's our one-time revenue. Here's our recurring revenue. Here's our combined revenue. Here's our cost of goods sold. Here's our combined gross margin. Okay, so this is a more detailed approach, obviously. But then what we will do is we'll take this to the activity planning level. And the activity planning level allows us to get into things like, well, how are you going to generate your leads? Are you going to be doing direct mail, networking events? Are you going to be doing cold calls? Are you going to be doing cold emails? Okay. Are you going to be running ads? What are you going to do to get the activity going through your growth formula? Because that will matter. Because cold calling is going to have different metrics associated with it than running ads. Okay. And then based on that, that's going to give us a specific activity plan month by month. Here are the things that you need to do and the things that you need to achieve on a month by month basis. 60 new leads, 120 new leads, right? So we're going to get into the detail that will then get us to a very specific day by day even plan that we can use to manage our activities to achieve our growth plan. All right. So this is the real deal. This is the nitty gritty of creating that plan. But the first thing that you want to do to create your plan, honestly, I think that going through that first spreadsheet that I gave you, this one right here, is enough for most of you, because what you want to do is just, to some degree or another, like at the spitball level. At the spitball level, if you say, okay, I think our average customer is going to be $497 a month, and I think that based on my previous history and based on what Mike's telling me and all that type of stuff, I think 3 a month is our realistic number. Let's just go ahead and put that in there, right? And we put in our 3 a month, and we do that, and we go, okay, at the end of month 12, we've added $14K a month in new recurring revenue. Okay, and I'm starting from scratch. Yes, that sounds right. That sounds awesome. Good. I'm not starting from scratch. I've actually been doing this for a while. We've got a salesperson on board, and we actually average 6 new customers a month. And so let's do that. And that says I'm going to add $27,000 recurring revenue each month. I mean, total monthly. And we're starting at $400,000 this year. That's what we're expecting to end this year at, is $400,000 in sales. And now this plan is saying that I'm going to add 26,000 times 12. That's another $300,000 in revenue that I'm going to add, and it's recurring. So that's not even calculating the upfront cash. So that is going to probably double my business when I track the upfront cash as well. Does that seem like a good, exciting, but realistic stretch target to me? Yes. Okay. If not, go back, rework some of these numbers, get to the point where you've said, here is my goal in the next year at a sales level. Here is my stretch target that's going to get me excited. It's going to get me ready to jump out of bed, so that I'm going to get after it every single day and go after these goals. Okay. That is your homework assignment for the evening. That is your homework assignment for the evening, is to figure out what that number is for you and to get excited about it, get solid on it. Okay. So that you're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going for it. And then tomorrow, what we'll do is we will create the detailed plan on how you're going to get there. Okay. Awesome. Any questions that you guys have, go ahead and fire them in. I'm also going to put a link in here. Anybody that wants to join me on camera to discuss any of this or ask any questions, you can use that. Or if you just want to type in your questions or comments in the chat, we can do it that way as well. And I would just say, if you have a longer question, something that's a little more complicated, needs more context, then getting on camera is ideal. Not necessary, but ideal. Otherwise, you can just type it in, and we will do our best to answer. Okay. Look at that. I'm pretty proud of myself. 2:30. It's 2:22. I'm almost right on track. You guys know I can get long-winded in these things. Mike says, what percentage of businesses have you found pay the full year ahead? Okay, Mike, I would say, one, this completely depends on how you pitch it. Okay. So, in other words, if you present, when you present your deal, if you present 3 payment plans, pay up front for the year, pay up front for the quarter, or pay monthly, right? I would say it's probably realistic that you're going to get about, and paying advance for the year includes some sort of discount, right? 10% discount, something like that. You'll probably get about 20% that will prepay for the year. 20%. Okay. But if you present your services, as in you put the proposal out there and you just go, here's the proposal, and it's $7,500 for the year, and we accept cash or credit card, then that number can go as high as I mean, it can go way high depending on who you're selling to, what you're selling, all that kind of stuff. But I would say that that will double your number up to 40%. And then you can back away to still try and capture as much of the remaining 60%. You know what I mean? So somebody gives you a bunch of pushback on that number. You can say, well, look, we normally don't do this, but we can do a quarterly payment plan or a monthly payment plan as well. Okay, so here's a couple of other options for you. You are probably going to lose some of your total sales by doing that, your total customers. So as in the first option that I presented, if you close 100 customers, in the second option that I presented, maybe you'll only close 90 of those customers because 10% of the customers will see your your upfront annual charge and just go, I'm out of here. Right? Whereas most of them that aren't comfortable with prepaying for the year will have a conversation with you. Man, I can't pay for this upfront for the year. Do you have any other options for me? Right? And then you can downsell. Okay. What would you suggest to be the first hire as far as positions are concerned? Definitely a jack of all trades service fulfillment person, in my opinion. Okay, so a somebody who's got good customer service skills, fast learner, good communicator, flexible, wants to hustle, doesn't need to have a job description that just fits perfectly inside of a box. And here's exactly what I do every day. Somebody that likes the challenge of trying different things and jumping into different things and stuff like that. That is the ideal first person in my experience, because now you can have that person start doing as much of the day-to-day fulfillment of getting your new customers onboarded and stuff like that. And you can focus all of your time and energy just on sales. And really, as the founder of the business, well, in almost all cases, as the founder of the business, you should be sales obsessed. That's your job. You are the engine that gets the train going down the tracks. It is very, very, very rare that you can just delegate that to anybody else. Okay. Now, you could have a co-founder situation where you're more of the technical, service fulfillment person, and your other co-founder, they're the revenue generation person. That's fine. But if you're saying that you are going to have a non-founder drive the revenue growth of your business, I'm saying you are probably doomed. So you should put somebody in position, Mike, that will help you spend as much of your time as humanly possible on revenue generation. Montina, I see you back there. Are you ready to join me? Awesome. What's up, Montina? It's so good to see you.
Let me see here. Hey, Mike, I thought I would come on and say hi.
I love it.
Good to see you too.
So good to see you.
I just thought I'd come on. Part of it's testimonial, and part of it's kind of the reason why I signed up for the class. But for those of y'all that are in the class, I started working with Mike back in 2015, 14, because I was looking at my Dropbox. That's awesome. I did everything he said. I was the new kid on the block. I niched down. I only work with attorneys. We worked with attorneys for 5 years. We made a few million in that space. Nice. When I transitioned kind of out, we did full service agency, video production, website, SEO, but all organic. And we still have some of the same clients from 2015, 2016. And then about 2018, we actually went into government and corporate contracting, doing a lot of video production. And then that led into me teaching small businesses how to do business with corporations and government, because we had time to run. And Mike, the funny thing is when I go in the spaces, these businesses would be like, we're not getting business. And I'm like, how are you a traditional business, like contract, like construction, painting, electrical? But for those of y'all watching, they have terrible websites, Gmail addresses. They fundamentally are technicians and they don't understand business.
That's absolutely right.
We were able to go in. I could help with marketing, but I was like, oh, I fundamentally understand business. So we actually won quick quote contracts for the federal government to teach at $100,000 a pop. I was like, wow, I'm doing this for free. Yeah, I know. So coming in now, we actually suspended all of our, we accept no new clients on our agency side, but we still have some of the same clients. They won't go away. So I didn't exit
Okay.
soon enough to sell, I think.
Mhm.
But we're offering a single service where I have a full team that can still do web design. So that's why I came on. I was like,
Mm.
I really need to build up a new um, kind of behind the things. So some of the activities, like we
Yeah.
have a lot of minority businesses, but again, kudos to you, because I always say, you always say you don't have a business if you don't have a recurring revenue model, one, and two,
Mhm.
sales is a transfer trust.
Mm.
And we ran with that. And, I grew my agency. I've been to the White House for Innovation Entrepreneur Summits. I just left Capitol Hill advocating for small businesses. I do public policy and government, but
That's
I
so
would not
awesome.
be successful without your training.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. I love it. And it does not surprise me one bit. I love when the Montinas of the world come into my universe because they make me look good because I knew day one you were going to be successful. And
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it
it
so
was
much.
fun. Yeah, so anyways, I just wanted to share it, but we're doing a single service, just the websites, but we're very
Yeah.
niche. I'm not going to say exactly what, but for those of you that are kind of thinking, hey, when we worked with attorneys, it was hard. There were some times when I did need like extra money, but we wouldn't put maybe a small business or another company in our portfolio. So we've been
Yeah.
very, very exclusive. And because of that, we got some of the top largest women owned, largest Asian owned, one of the largest Black owned. Like we got really robust law firms because we were so exclusive with our portfolio. It was almost like if you worked with us, you were the elite. And
Mm,
so we've still held on to that pretty much to this
that's
day. We
awesome.
just don't accept everybody. We're really, really exclusive if we work with you, and that served us well.
That's awesome. And on the websites, are you using high level? You're a high level customer?
No, so what we do, I've had a same team, that I've outsourced it forever. And, our unique, I don't want to really say, but we work with a subset of minority companies that I found just work really well. One page at one flat, I've always been flat price type as
Yeah.
well. Our recurring was always 1,000 to 5,000 a month, and that was it. We
Yeah.
never really, what do you call it, would nitpick with our clients. Like it was what it was. There were
Mhm.
many months that I've always won, but there were some months you'd be like, oh. But with us, it's just a flat rate. And for them, we do 3 mock-ups for a flat rate if we charge them. And then if they don't, if they work with us, we take it off the full price. But it's so in their mind,
Mm.
it's a turnkey system for them. Everything goes through our survey, Woofu. So I'm literally maybe out of 100%, 5% on, and that's just really engaged with the client. But it's not
Mhm.
an agency model anymore. Like we're just one and
Good.
done. Yeah.
So I love all that. I love everything that you're saying. I would beg you to consider looking at incorporating high level into what you're doing
Okay.
because what you can do is you can set up that website. One, you can set up the website very easily using high level, but even if you want to do a WordPress website, you can host it on high level.
Okay.
But the critical thing is that you can then sell them into, and you already use the words I love to hear, selling them into the concept of a complete marketing system. So you sell them on the website, but
Mm-hmm.
that website has a call tracking number, a lead capture form, AI
Okay.
chat widget, all of those things that are provided by high level. And now they're paying you the monthly recurring for the access to the SMS, the AI chatbot, the hosting, all
Okay.
that stuff. So for every website that you're selling, you're now starting to stack up recurring revenue that's just automated recurring revenue
Okay.
because that website model is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's dramatically better when every customer turns into 297, $497 in recurring high margin revenue because of it. So
Okay.
I would just
Awesome.
put that out there for you.
All right. And I appreciate that. And that last thing is we're fully funded. So my husband and I are fully funded for retirement. So a lot of this is fun. I
Awesome.
do want to urge you all to get involved in your government because I literally just got a call. I'm speaking tomorrow at a government event, but your county and your government has money. One of our counties in the state I live in Georgia, but in a fast county, we have $29 billion in one county. And I'm talking about there's a guy in my county who's got a $3 billion subcontract. So there's just
That's
so
crazy.
much money in these
Wow.
counties. And again, when you're around a lot of the entrepreneurs that do, like I said, a lot of the just things that you see, like lawn, like some traditional businesses, they don't have a clue. They
Yeah.
only want to be technicians. So I'll definitely check out the model. But thanks, Mike. I just wanted to
Awesome.
share.
It's so great to see you. Thank you very much, Martina. I
Bye.
appreciate it.
Thank
Great to see
you.
you. All right. Zach, I see you back there. How are you, Zach?
Good.
Good. How can I help you, sir?
Well, next week I'm taking off about 5 days, going to Panama City, and going to be in the condo. And this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm setting up the whole
Good.
thing for next year.
I love it. Good for you.
So my question is, I'm just really kind of getting my foot in the door and understanding the high level. And I kind of have some of my ideas as far as what I want to lead with, especially with the AI chatbot and that. You said the best thing is you want inbound. So basically, I'm going to start promoting a lot of your 4Rs and things like that, and just blasting it out on YouTube and trying to get some contacts and like podcasts and things like that and share that with them, and then be able to put that onto mine. One of the things that I'm questioning is, you said, like, start off with something like the AI chatbot, $397 a month, and that's it. Once you expand that out and you're doing just about the full blown thing, what would you? I heard you talking about $1,500 and $2,000 as a setup charge. Is that what? I mean, what's reasonable? I'm not sure where to. And even what kind of upcharge to do with something like that?
Well, so if you're expanding it out, so let's say that I'm selling a small business like a complete system, right? A complete, the marketing system, right?
Right.
And I'm including setup of your new website, setup of, all of your campaigns, all that type of stuff. And when you are pitching this, you would have a list of, here's all the campaigns I'm setting up for you. I'm setting up the, calendar booking campaigns, the lead follow-up campaigns, yada, yada, right? I'm going to customize all those to you, to your business and everything. When you stack up that value proposition, that's easily, you can easily make the case that everything that you're doing there is $25,000 worth of work or something like that. And so can you then pitch that as a $7,000 upfront fee, $5,000 upfront fee? Yeah, absolutely. And have that be a real discount. And it is, because just setting up a website for somebody, you could pitch just doing a website for $15,000, $25,000. So the fact that you're setting up all of this for them, you can absolutely get a $5,000, $7,000 startup fee. Are you going to have to sell that more than a startup fee of $497? Of course. A startup fee of $497, you can almost pretty much just count on that being automatic with a business. It's $497 to get started. Then your first monthly charge is 30 days from now, yada, yada, right? So you're just collecting money that day. Versus a 5,000, a 7,000, a 10,000, you're going to have to sell a little bit more. And let me just share with you real quick, because I think this is a good one for us to get a little bit, some visibility for everybody to see on this. So if you were going through my package design sheet and you go down to the very bottom of this, I essentially, took the model. I said, no doubt seen this guy Scaling with Systems. I can't remember his name, but he's done a real nice job of being out there advertising like crazy, where he sells hey, we're going to turn on our super duper sales system for your business. And the way it's structured, it'd be something like this, right? Year one, it's $12,000 up front one time, and you get the system, plus you get 12 months of use of all of the tools, which is a $497 a month value, plus you get 12 months of coaching, support, and upgrades from us for $5,000 a year. Okay? So that's $7,000, $12,000 plus $6,000, that's $18,000. If you paid all of that separately, you're getting it for $12,000 up front. That's a super straightforward pitch. And very easy for me to then say, hey, look, you can't pay all of it up front. I can break that up into installments. I can finance it for you. I can do this option, $7K upfront, and then $497 a month and $400 for coaching, so $897 a month. So now you're paying, more like $16,000 a year instead of 12, but you're not having to pay it all up front. Okay. Or I could do a payment plan of 5 times 3K, right? And so now you're paying 15 instead of 12. So more than this, less than this, but you're breaking it up into 5 payments of 3K. So you could give people those options like that. Now that's it. That's it. We're doing everything for you. We're setting up the wholesale system, all the bells and whistles, right? If you were doing something that's more like we're just doing like a, kind of the foundation, acceleration, domination thing or actually even just the simpler version of it, just the core packages. So just all the reputation resell, $297 to $497 a month, $497 to $697. If you just did it's, a first month's payment up front, or a $1,500 setup fee or something like that. That's an easy ask. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get a ton of pushback on that. It's not going to slow down deals too much. If you're doing, let's say, just a $97 foot in the door service, I wouldn't want to charge a $1,500 upfront fee then, because that seems like a bait and switch. It's like, wait a minute, right. You just marketed this $97 thing, and now you're telling me it's $1,500 to get started. Like that's over a year's worth of my $97 payments, right? So, if it's a $97 foot in the door service, and again, the goal of a foot in the door service is primarily about speed. Like, how do I get these customers in the door fast and turn them into customers? So you don't want to put very much roadblocks in there. So in that case, it's $97 up front, and then $97 starts, as soon as we're done with our setup, that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if I wanted to do like the AI chatbot and set that up for them and charge them, I'm going to charge them $397 a month for that. And just have a setup fee of $397.
You do $397. You can do $500. Yeah, something like that. Yep. Okay. Yep. And what I would do is just break down and make sure you're selling the value of what that is. It's $500. Here's what we're doing. We're setting up the initial training of your bot. We're taking all of your frequently asked questions for your business. We're documenting them. We're putting them into the bot, training it, testing it, stuff like that. And that's, $500. And then as soon as that testing is done, which is 2 weeks, then we start your first monthly charge. And that's every 30 days after that.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. I love that you're going to do it, that you're going to go take time off. That's perfect.
One more quick question. And I know you talked about it. Do you have a checklist of the things to get done before you kind of like implement?
Yeah, the execution checklist. This right here. That's in the welcome section of High Leverage Agency.
Okay.
And it's broken down. I broke this down into 3 phases, kind of based on what you need to do and as well as what you should expect from each of those phases. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't show it to you. I meant to show it to you there. Hold on. Right here.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I'll be taking that with me too.
That's in the welcome section of High Leverage Agency.
All right. I will get on that.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any other questions I can answer? Please let me know. And I will do my best. Otherwise, we will let you guys get back to your day. And again, homework for today is to create that stretch revenue target. Just revenue for now. Just focus on revenue. That's going to get you excited, that you feel a little bit nervous about, like, ooh, I'm going to have to be a better version of myself, right? To go, because that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to grow by creating these goals. We're trying to grow us. We're not trying to just grow our company. We are trying to grow us and expect more of us, right? That's what growing is. And then Tomorrow, we're going to fill in the details on what it's going to take to get there. I don't want you to get bogged down in what it's going to take to get there yet. Tony Robbins teaches this, and I think it's one of the most important lessons in the world when it comes to goal setting, right? Don't focus on the how first, right? He calls it the tyranny of how, and that worrying about how kills so many great opportunities, because instead of getting excited enough about the vision of what we're going to do and getting deeply committed to it, emotionally committed to it, even if we don't have all the answers, damn it, we're going to do it, right? Then you worry about the how. But if you don't get that first stage done, if you don't get that clarity and you don't get that excitement and you don't get that commitment, you're most likely just going to stub your toes on the how, right? There's always going to be some bump there that will justify why you're not going to actually pursue your goals. So let's get excited and get committed first. Create that number. Tomorrow, we'll work about the how. Charles and Linda, this is a Shure MV7. Shure MV7. Awesome, Mike. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up then. Have a fantastic rest of your day and evening. Get excited. Think about that goal that's really going to move you and inspire you. It's going to challenge you. Tomorrow, same time, same place. We're going to go through in detail that next section. Yes, sir, James. That's right. And then we will fill in the details of the how. Okay? We'll fill in the details of the how. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you, Gene. Good to see you. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you here tomorrow, everybody. Take care. If you have any questions also in the meantime, I will check the community area in Circle. And also, if you are having, let me just go ahead and put this up here. Should have done this earlier. If you are having any challenges accessing product, accessing Circle, please email help@servicesatscale.com. Okay. If you message me directly, you're always putting yourself at risk of Mike's going to be running around doing a million things and not see it. Okay. So please email help@servicesatscale.com where my team can see it. They can harass me into helping if they need help. They can take care of it if they can. And it's tracked, which is important. Okay. Awesome, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.